What's the crack? What's the bleeding story? Thanks a million, everyone, for dropping by this evening. And a special big thanks to the four guys in tonight. Really appreciate it. Jez, I'll start with you. How you doing, mate?
All good, man. All good. Yeah. Been a nice week. 61 on Tuesday. So, the old years are ramping up now. But, it's been a good week.
Cool. Thanks a million. And again, happy birthday. Fair play. I hope you had a few sherries the other night.
More than a few.
Cool. Warren, how are you doing, buddy? Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm good. Been working on my season review show. It's coming out in a couple of days, hopefully. So just got a couple more bits to do, then it'll be ready to bang. So I'm looking forward to that.
Fair play. Yeah, I've seen your thing about the Celtic Rangers. That was very good. And if anyone hasn't seen it, check it out. Very good.
Thank you, Del Boy.
Manny, you're fair play to you for coming on. You're a man of your word. Appreciate it. Hope you're looking forward to the 96 review season.
Del, you know the score. Anything with you is always going to be worth looking forward to. Just happy to be a part of it. Thank you, mate.
Really appreciate it. No, seriously, thanks a million. Without the likes of you and all the rest in the chat, we can't do this sort of stuff, and I really do appreciate it. Kyle, what's the crack? What's the story with the sunny southeast of Ireland? How's the weather down there?
It's been very nice for the last few days. That's why enjoying the sun, enjoying the time away from that fraud of a club of ours. We won't go on about what's going on. We'll concentrate on proper football tonight. But it's good to be on the show, Del Boy. Thanks again, man. And hopefully I'll see you up in the Viva Stadium on Wednesday, bro, because I think I have 2 tickets there, man.
Appreciate that. Looking forward to it.
Sorry, mate. Yeah. Can I just quickly say something? Yeah, it's not related to this stream. Just wanted to warn people: if you're on Instagram and someone approaches you saying that they're Diesel, and it's account Diesel 009, block it and report them because it's a fake account. And if you start chatting to them, they're going to ask you for money.
Well, yeah, appreciate that. I do get it a lot myself, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So yeah, please, people, just be aware of fucking arseholes out there that try to scam you for everything that you have. You know what I mean? No, fair play, Warren. Really appreciate that. I'm just going to just say hello to a few people that's in the chat there. Carl, what's the story, mate? How are you doing? Luca, hi, Luca. How are you? Taib is in the house. Big up, Taib. Well done. Craig's in the house. Fair play. Craig Malloy. I'm just going to run through these real quick and then we'll get started. And Manny is in the house and he's in the stream. He's all over the place today.
That's what you call multitasking,
eh? Well, Manny, look, we'll start with you. Look, I suppose the Premier League fixtures there, this is in October, November, because we did touch on this before, and I wasn't around for the last time, and the lads started continuing it for me, and I really appreciate that. So, look, we'll start this anyway in October, November. I don't know if you can remember much of the season. Now, I do bits and pieces, but with Warren's slides that he puts up here, it sort of does refresh, games and stuff like that. Does anything stand out there for you, or is there anything you want to sort of just mention on them few results that you see there?
To be honest, I take a look at a few games against, the Newcastle game, for instance, 1996. I think that was sometime after. I don't know if it was after Kevin Keegan's term, but that was probably the sort of game which, under Arsene Wenger we would have lost. So I think it's nice to give some credit to Rioch, at least continuing that tradition of George Graham said that we weren't really that easy to beat. And at least games against Newcastle, we at least played well enough to make sure that we got the result. And I think the draw against Wimbledon, though, was probably a little bit of a disappointment. And then Coventry City was also quite disappointing. So it's it's probably in this sort of a middle period where you want to start to consolidate on a decent start. I'm not too sure. Maybe the start wasn't that good that season, but at least with with 4 wins and 2 draws during that period and just 1 solitary loss, I guess that's not small potatoes. That loss being, of course, to the all-conquering Manchester United. But I think maybe after the whole hullabaloo with Graham, it's nice to see the club at least starting to recover, regain some bearings, if you will.
Yeah. I'll work back up, sort of, Warren. At the sort of, the Bruce Rioch era, it wasn't long, but did you feel like, geez, this club is going fucking nowhere fast? Something needs to be done. Like, the way I suppose you do feel about the current situation.
I don't think it's as bad as what it is now. I didn't feel that bad about it. I was angry, but not as angry and upset and hopeless as I feel now, because at the moment I just can't see a light at the end of the tunnel. But at this point in time, I thought the club will end up making the right decision. Do you know what I mean? But that being said, I was very confused at the time about why they got rid of Rioch. I mean, yeah, we didn't challenge for a trophy for the league title properly. We were in and around up the top, but we weren't really pushing for the league title. And I was thinking, well, what's going on? And then we started hearing all these rumours about managers that we were supposedly be looking at, Bobby Robson and Johan Cruyff got mentioned, I believe, if my memory's not playing tricks on me. And I started thinking, yeah, this sounds good. Do you know what I mean? So I do remember feeling a bit worried and confused and a bit agitated. But looking back at it now, I just think Bruce Rioch was brought in as a stopgap. I do, because it's something that Arsenal have done a few times, in my opinion, looking back down the years. I do. I think that we've done it a few times. I think we did it when they appointed Don Howe. I think we did it with Bruce Rioch. And we did it with Unai Emery. So, yeah. So, yeah, I hope that sort of answers the question, really.
No.
But that was my sort of feelings about it.
And Jez, I suppose your sort of opinion on it, would you agree with Warren? It's as bad now as it was back then, or what's your sort of feeling on it when Bruce Rioch was around?
Oh, mate, it's 1,000 times worse now than it was back then, for sure. And I agree with Warren to a point that Bruce Rioch was brought in as the interim. If you go back and look at what David Dein was doing and Sir Peter Hill-Wood, they had already spoken the year before with Arsene Wenger when he was at Grand Passat in Japan. And it was quite clear what they wanted to achieve, because when George Graham got the boot for his skullduggery, if you want to call it that, taking whatever happened there. Mm-hmm. Bruce Rioch came in basically to keep the ship afloat, but they already had Arsene Wenger lined up. It was purely the fact they couldn't have him at the start because of his contractual obligations with Grand Passat. Now, we all know Arsenal don't like to spend money, so they didn't want to pay off his contract. Fact. That is a fact. So they waited until they could get him when the Japanese league finished, and that's when they brought him in. And we all know the rest of the history. So to answer constructively your question. I have never seen Arsenal in such disarray as they are currently. The continual, and this is, let's get it right, this has been going on for about 3 years. Every single day we are linked to some player and nothing happens. Nothing. Now, whether this is just the press or it's just Arsenal, I don't know. I can't comment. But it never used to be like this. Arsenal, when they did their transfer business, said nothing. They would just do nothing. It'd all be behind the scenes, and all of a sudden it'd pop up, like the day we signed Dennis Bergkamp. Arsenal have signed Dennis Bergkamp from Inter Milan. When we signed David Platt from Sampdoria, Arsenal signed David Platt from Sampdoria. At that time, he was the England captain. But nowadays, it's, oh, we're linked to this player, we're linked to that player. And nothing happens. And it's jokes. It is absolute jokes. And that is all down to the inept way the club is run by Edu, Arteta, Vinay and the board. And what doesn't help is the lack of interest and control by the Cronkies. Fact. And this is how it will be, people, for a long time.
Yeah, unfortunately, like, you know, I can't disagree with you, Jez. You know, I remember back then, like, you know, I was in my teenage years, like, you know what I mean, and I knew it wasn't like it was bad, but I knew we'd get it right or something like that, you know. And when Wenger was signed, I was just like, oh my God, maybe I'm fucking wrong here. You know, who the fuck is this guy? You know, when he came along, hadn't a clue about it, and like, you know, back then we didn't have internet, and you could see he owned 3 cats at the time. Like, you know, nowadays they know about fucking everything about players, managers, and fucking everything like that. Like, you know, Kyle, you know, what was your feelings when Wenger was signed? Like, you know, like, look, did you know anything about him? Were you a bit gutted? You know, like, as Warren says, we were linked with a few top managers at the time. What was your feeling when Wenger was unveiled?
Why? I was I echo Jay's. The club is in disarray as we speak. Back then, no way was it like what it is now. We had a good squad of players. We were after winning the Cup Winners' Cup only a couple of years before that. We had Bergkamp, Adams, all the strong lads, the legends of the club. So I was excited because I heard Johan Cruyff's name being mentioned, and he was one of the favourites to take over. So I was expecting Cruyff to take over and to bring the club even further. Then we got Wenger. I knew nothing about Wenger, not one thing. So I was disappointed. I thought it was like a headmaster, you know, a head teacher. I didn't know much about him. I didn't know what the appointment was all about. I did not expect what the future brought. So it was, in my eyes, it was one of the best decisions the club ever made, getting Wenger in, David Dean and Peter Hillwood. And the 10 years then after that, it was just a pure joy. So it was exciting times that boy when he took over, because you could see the change of play. You could see that the club was going in a different direction than what it was, you know. So it was exciting times. But once again, as I said at the very beginning, I didn't really know what the hell was going on. Who was this Wenger? Who is he? What is he? So yeah, that's where I was that one.
Yeah, like, you know, I can't, like, you know, I can't remember like the first game that he had in charge, but I knew, like, let's say, towards the end of the season, I knew there was progress being made at the club. Like, you know, the 96-97 season, you know, I felt progress. Not the way I feel this fucking progress that these Muppets are bleeding talking about. You know what I mean? Nowadays, oh, progress, we're fifth. You didn't think we were going to finish fifth in the league, did you? Getting all this crap, you know. Do you want to just go to the next one there, Warren, if you want? So, 24th of November, 96, FA Cup Premier League, 3-1 Spurs. Now, that's how you do it. Dean Wright penalty, Adams 88, and Dennis the legend on the 90th minute. Manny, look, FA Cup, can you remember sort of, the league, sorry. Can you remember anything on that? I just remember Steve Carr there. He actually lives not too far from where I live. I bumped into a few of his family and stuff like that, but not him himself. If I ever do, I'll throw a camera in his face and see what he says. But Manny, like, you know, the North London Derby, Highbury, does it ring a bell with you?
To be honest, Dale, no, it doesn't. But I'm going to actually sort of segue back to what your previous question was about how I felt when Arsene Wenger signed. You know, there is actually a bit of a Tottenham connection with Grand Passaic because, as many of us know, that was where Gary Lineker ended his career after leaving Tottenham in '92. He was supposed to have an Indian summer over there, but I think he broke his toe and he ended up having a miserable time over there. And I do remember reading in a book about how Wenger was, doing the business at Monaco. So, for me, when it comes to Arsenal sort of having had a long line of English/British managers, in fact, I believe Graham and Rioch were both Scottish. For me, it signaled the beginning of a new era in that Arsenal was willing to embrace something new and have a foreign manager. And clearly, having worked with Monaco and worked in Japan in that experimental league, which saw a great deal of development and had a lot of international stars coming over there to retire, I actually was quite intrigued, and I thought, maybe with a new guy coming in with his new ideas, that could freshen up the team, and history has sort of proved itself. As far as this North London derby goes, I'm sorry, mate. I don't have any memories of that because that was a time when I was living outside the UK, and we never had the opportunity to watch live football from back in England. So I had to depend on the papers. But I was reading a bit of the news, and I was quite happy with a lot of the progress, and I thought this could be the start of something nice. So at least at that time, given that we had lost the first Premier League North London derby at Highbury in '93, I think it was, we started to reassert our dominance, if you will. So it was nice to see them coming back in. And of course, with Bergkamp settling in, I thought when he signed, he could make an impact. And it was wonderful to see him settling in. Wasn't the quickest of players, but Wenger knew how to get the best out of him. And that was the start of something beautiful. So no real memories as such, but this does give me some satisfaction. And I think Wenger's coming in, for me, filled me with a bit of confidence and some hope, if not actual belief that something good would happen immediately. But I'm glad he came.
Warren, I'll come to you, mate. I don't suppose you were at the game, were you?
Well, this one?
Yeah.
No, I didn't go. No. I can't even remember why. I think it was on TV, and I remember watching it on TV, and I think this was the game where Dennis, I think he curled it. If I remember, he sort of curled it into the far corner, not up in the top of the goal, but it was just sort of, he just sort of bent it in, if I remember rightly. I might be wrong, but I think that was the one, and I remember it being a really, really good goal, and it sealed the victory.
I don't suppose you were at it, Jez?
I was. As Warren says, he curled it in on the right stick and hit the side net and went in. And out of interest, that guy there, Carr, that is the father of Alan Carr, the comedian.
Really?
Yeah. That's his dad.
Wow. That's the Carr that's been in trouble, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his dad. But Yeah, no, I was there that game, man. That's when I used to have a season ticket, and used to get up there because at that point, I didn't live that close to Highbury, but I lived about 10 miles away. So I was, not that it wasn't too much of a drama to get to the games like it is nowadays. So yeah, no, I was at that game, man.
Yeah. It's like for me, I remember that game myself, and the only reason why I remember it was because I was in my cousin's house, and his dad was a fucking Spurs supporter. He's an absolute fucking prick, and I don't mind saying it because he is. He's separated from my auntie now, so I can say that. But I remember he was giving me and my cousin, my cousin is an Arsenal supporter as well, and he was giving us a bit of stick, you know what I mean, having the fun and. When it went 1-1 and he was giving it loads, and I was just like, when Adam scored in the 88th and Bergkamp, then I was just there, yeah, have it, And we go to the next one there, Warren. So this is the team that, wow, look at just even the back four that stands out to me straight away. Winterborn, Adams, Keown, Dixon. Back then. Kyle, I'll come to you, mate. How good was that back four?
Absolutely outstanding. That's a brilliant team. And I remember that game. That game was on a Sunday. It was on Sky Sports on a Sunday. And Ian Rice crossed the ball. And Dennis Bergkamp just little flicked, destroyed the defender, and bent her into the bottom right-hand corner. It was a brilliant goal. But that's a great team. That back line, so you're not going to get any better. Imagine having that back line now.
Oh my God.
Keown, Adams, Bold, Dixon, Winterborn. Sure, it just doesn't get any better. Well, Wenger was very lucky that why to come in and have that back line there for him to start off, It was a great starting point for him, the defence. It was already there. Yes, he added great additions to the team, but Jesus Christ, look at them names there in that back line.
Yeah,
you have to travel far around the world to get a better back line than that, now, let me tell you.
Yeah, 100%. Manny, Kyle has a great point there. Geez, can you imagine, even nowadays, a manager coming into a club with a back four as strong as that? You do not, even the goalie, I know Lukic is there, but David Seaman as well. Can you imagine coming to a club nowadays where your back five is absolutely solid, and you just have to sort out the spine of the team and well, even look, Wenger didn't buy Bergkamp, and some people do think that he did buy it. Was Bruce Rioch bought Bergkamp, so you're having that back five, Ian Rice, Bergkamp up front. It's not a bad team, to start off with.
Not at all. And of course, the return of Lukic would have been wonderful for, all of these nostalgics who remember 1989. And interestingly enough, he came back that season and made 15 appearances. I think they were all, I don't know if they were all in the Premiership or maybe some cup games as well. I'm not too sure. Let me just take a look and see. Yeah, he made 15 appearances in the Premier League. So that might have been the season when Seaman might have had a bit of an injury. So it was good for him to come back. And of course, that back five, Winterburn, Adams, Bull being, I don't know if you could call them a sweeper of sorts, then Keown and Dixon. I mean, that would be a luxury now today. And as sad as it was that out of this back five, only Adams and Keown are able to earn many England caps, this back five was literally, the old reliable. And you're absolutely right, mate. When you come into a club and you have defenders of that quality, and some good quality keepers as well, that would be a terrific platform from where you could build a really good midfield. I mean, Merson was still there, but Vieira came in, Pat came in, Bergkamp and Wright. So you start with the back and then you move and then you build from the back, if you will. And, he was lucky. And some of the defenders that Wenger did sign in the latter years were absolutely awful. Although I will credit him for bringing Sol Campbell to the club.
Yeah.
He was lucky. He was very lucky. He was blessed.
Yeah. I'm just going to look at this, Bruce, fair play, Bruce. And, Warren, I'll come to you with this dangerous 11, and they played 5 at the back. Like, I suppose, what was the story with that? Like, was he just sort of trying to get it used to the team? And, like, why would you play sort of 5 at the back when you have, let's say, the back 4 there as solid as they come, even nowadays, To
be honest with you, I'm not sure. But I do remember before he came, when Pat Rice was running the team, we played a back 3 a few times, and I just wonder whether it was his preferred formation, because some managers, they do like to have a preferred formation, and I just wonder if at the time it was his preferred formation, and when he came here, he was going with like this formation because that's what way he wanted to set his team up. Because, like I say, I know when Pat Rice was the caretaker, he used it a few times, and I just wonder whether he had a word with the club and said, "Look, can you get him to play that formation for me till I come to get him used to playing it till I arrive?" But honestly, I don't know. But just in case anyone's wondering, those yellow Ys that are next to Vieira's name and Dixon's name, it just means that they got a booking.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking that. I didn't know whether it was that or they were doing the YMCA.
Exactly. But I didn't. I have to say I don't know, but I just my guess would be that it was something to do with the fact that maybe he wanted to play that way moving forward. I don't know.
Kyle, did you want to come in there, mate?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a point. I want to ask Jays and Warren a question. My memory, lads, with Bruce Rioch, do I remember that Ian Rice was threatening to quit Arsenal Football Club over Bruce Rioch? Do you remember that?
So I didn't hear what you said.
Ian Rice and Bruce Rioch, they didn't get on. They didn't see eye to eye. And seemingly Ian Rice threatened to quit if Bruce Rioch kept in charge of Arsenal. I remember that. Read that somewhere. Do you remember that?
I don't, mate. To be honest, I don't.
I know what I can remember. I don't know if it's true or not. That him and Bruce Rioch had a few dust-ups.
Yeah.
And that I think one occasion there was a few punches thrown and stuff, but I know that they didn't see eye to eye and they didn't get on. But other than that, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. I know there was something there between the two of them, yeah.
Because I believe he nearly went to Chelsea at one point. Isn't that right, Jez?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that is correct. That is correct.
But where when George Graham got sacked, was he in the background or anything like that, or did he actually pick him up from somewhere, or what was the story?
Who, Del Boy?
No.
They took him from Bolton. He was Bolton manager, Del Boy, and that's where we took him from, Bolton.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No.
When George got sacked, Stuart Houston took over as a caretaker, I think, for a while.
Yeah, it was.
And then there was another fella as well, wasn't there? There was another caretaker, but I can't remember his name, that we had at one point.
Pat Rice took over as well.
No, not Rice.
Stuart Houston, Warren. Stuart Houston, mate.
I can't remember. I'll have to have a look at my my notes, but I can't remember.
Yeah, well, look, we'll go on. We'll go to the next slide there.
I'll soon tell you.
Oh, he's the Bible out. He's the Bible out. We're in trouble now.
I'll soon tell you.
Well, here, while you're looking at that, Jez, I'm just sort of talking. Go on.
Carry on, mate.
All right, yeah. So just looking at the league here. So look, we're top of the league there. Jesus Christ, I didn't think we were that close. up at the top. I thought we were hanging around 4th or 5th at the time. Manny, I'll come to you there. But, like, you know, were you a surprise there? Like, you know, after 15 games played, we're on top of the league?
Not really. I mean, you know, this seems to be the case when you sort of have a new manager, maybe some new ideas. Everything does start quite well at first. And I think, as I mentioned in some of the results from October to November during that period, at least there were some cases where Arsenal could win really well, and there are a few other cases where they could grind out some results. I think what happened definitely under Arsene Wenger during the latter years was that we lost our ability to grind out results. So it was wonderful to see. I think it was wonderful that Rioch was able to, you know, continue that. And after 15 games, I mean, you know, that's pretty good stuff. He was able to adopt a new system. Everyone seemed to, for the most part, respond to that. And it was happy days at that time, I think. Pretty good.
Yeah. Jez, do you want to come in there?
Sorry, man.
Do you want to come in there? Did you find your answer?
Yeah, it was only Stuart Houston, man. From George Graham's era to Bruce Rioch, it was only Stuart Houston that was the caretaker.
Yeah, so, yeah, like, you know, I didn't even know that now. Fair play. Like, you know, I always thought it was just after Graham was well, relieved of his duties. I always thought that Bruce Rioch was sort of there or thereabouts at the club, and he just came in, like, you know, like, I as you said earlier, Warren, or sorry, Jez, like, you know, Arsenal don't buy people out of contracts. They were as fucking stingy back then as they are now, you know.
Yeah.
And for them, like, you know, to pay a bit of compensation for Bruce Rioch, you know, how long did he last at the club?
8 months, I think it was.
He left a week before the season started, Del Boy. Bruce Rioch left. He was gone 1 week before kickoff of the new season. Stuart Houston took over. And then Stuart Houston wanted, or Houston, whatever his name is, Stuart Houston, I call him. He wanted to be the new Arsenal manager. He went to the board about it. And he was told that he wasn't going to be the new Arsenal manager. So he fucked off down to QPR. And Pat Rice then took over for a period of time. Couple of weeks, I think it was. And then Wenger took over then in September.
There you go. I think someone has been doing the fucking homework tonight. Fair play.
Have to do the study.
Yeah. What do you make of the league there? Like, you know, November. And being honest with everyone, like, I always thought we were down in about 4th or 5th, hanging around there, like, you know. But look, leading the way, you know, Wenger, like, you know, was it just the Wenger bounce, new manager? What were you thinking, or what do you think?
Leading the way, Del Boy, but if you look at that table, there's only 5 points between ourselves and 11 players Tottenham. So it's really not that big of a margin, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
If you want the facts of it, right, George Graham was manager until the 21st of February 1995. Stuart Houston was caretaker manager from the 21st of February 1995 until Bruce Rioch joined in April 1995 and was basically manager until the end of the season in 96. Bruce Rioch officially left his position on the 12th of August 1996, less than a week before the new season. As the game kicked off at home against West Ham. That's the facts.
So, like, you know, I suppose back then it must have been something got to do with, like, you know, what they were just telling him, you're not fucking going to be the full-time manager, or why would he leave just before the start of the season?
He was sacked.
Was he? Yeah.
Yep, he was sacked. I've got it here. Hang on, bear with me.
I read something, Del Boy, that there was a massive argument between him and the board about transfers and whatnot. Whether that's true, I don't know. I just read it somewhere. I can't remember where I read it.
This is the facts. This is the facts.
Yeah, go on.
Bruce Rioch officially left his position on 12th of August 1996, less than a week before the new season started, off the home game to West Ham. Stuart Houston once again took care over in caretaker capacity, but resigned in mid-September 96 when he was told he would not be considered for the full-time role. As Kyle said, Pat Rice then took the helm for 4 matches, but by now it was an open secret that Arsene Wenger would leave Japanese side Nagoya Grampus 8 to join as manager, and Wenger officially joined on the 1st of October 1996.
Yeah. I was thinking that, all right. I was thinking it was. I always thought it was November, towards the end of November, like, you know. So, well, I suppose, look, Oregon Gunner was there. How good or bad was Rioch? You know, towards the end of the season before, I don't think we pulled up trees or anything like that. Just, like, you know, he wasn't good enough for Arsenal, the standard, I suppose, that George Graham had set the club. You know, the players. Now, this is from what I feel. Maybe you guys might tell me different, but I don't think they wanted to play for him. They didn't respect him. You know, it's a big dressing room there, that Arsenal, the back four that he had. You know, Warren, what do you make, man? You know, Bruce Rioch as a manager.
I don't think he was that bad. I mean, the thing was, the club was. It needed the playing staff needed a bit of a revamp, to be honest, when he came in. Although his only season in charge, he finished 4th. I still don't think they had any intention of keeping him on full time, because I think they were waiting to get Wenger. I think they wanted to get Wenger when after George got sacked, but they couldn't get him, so they had to have a stopgap appointment. So I think that's why they appointed him. Basically.
Like, can you imagine, like, nowadays the Arteta sexuals would have been, oh, stand by, we've got Super Bruce Rioch. Fuck off. Fucking idiot. Yeah, I'd say that probably.
You've got to remember that season with Bruce Rioch, Arsenal only conceded 32 goals.
Wow.
And that's when they reduced it to the 38 games. So, you know, Arsenal that season conceded the least amount of goals in the Premier League. So you have to say that it was a pretty decent. That was a pretty decent setup. But as we've all just said, with that defence, with Steve Bold playing sweeper as he did, we all know the classic Tony Adams step up. And Steve Bold, if you remember in time, you know, he was playing sweeper behind Adams and all that. And then he would run in front of Tony Adams as he'd call the line, and that caught so many players offside. It was a bloody good trap, if you want to put it that way, really, for attackers, because Arsenal had it off to such precision that they would just go bang, you know, and you'd have players like Ian Rush, blah, blah, all these great strikers offside.
Yeah, I remember that as well, actually, because, like, as it says, like, growing up from where I was, And in 1995, I moved to Dublin from Roscommon, and like everyone say, "Oh, you support Arsenal and stuff like that." And there was me and another guy up the road supported Arsenal, and kids, you're growing up, the guys giving the stick, oh, they were Liverpool and Man United and whatever, And I remember then one day actually exactly what you said there, reading the stat. I forget where it was on the newspaper or something like that. And I was there, oh, lovely, I've something to cheer for, towards the end of the season. I was just there, we've conceded the least amount of goals in the Premier League. And I was even there, well, that's something to work off for next season. Warren, we'll go to the next slide there, man.
That defence still, boy, wouldn't let fresh air past them. They were that good.
Yeah.
They were brilliant. And by the way, do you know the way we're linked to Morata?
Oh.
I just have Spain against Portugal on the TV here. He's just after scoring for Spain.
Oh, God. Can you imagine now?
Bring him in. Come on, Morata. Sign the contract. Come on.
Yeah. Fuck's sake. Jesus. Right. We'll touch base on one or two of these before we wrap up. We'll talk about one or two little things with the transfer and stuff like that. But we'll keep going on here anyway. Any result there? Standing out there. I'm just looking at the Derby County draw 2-2. And if I'm not mistaken, I remember Derby County at the time were fucking shit. Adams Vieira, that was at home. Anything stick out for you there, Jez? I'm just going to come to you because, the home game there, that Derby game, surely were you at it?
No, nothing stands out, man. To be honest.
Yeah.
I'll say to you, I was not at that game, so I can't really comment.
But even I'll come to you, Manny, because I've just started looking here at we had a good defence there, but in one or two of the games there's a few, the Derby County game, 2 goals against, the Nottingham Forest losing 2 goals, the Villa at home, another 2 goals conceded. Are we just are we being biased by this Arsenal defence, or does the stats line up?
Here's the thing. I mean, obviously that was Wenger's first season with the back 4, back 5, or whatever have you. And, you could see at the halfway point, not the halfway point, but after 15 games we were top. But when you take a look at the season, obviously it would be these 4 games: Derby County at home, Forest away, Wednesday away, and Villa at home. Draw, loss, draw. Everything in a clump right there. So those results probably, represented the start of the, sort of the come down, if you will. And what hurts me as well is that these 3 teams, Derby, Forest, and Wednesday, they had their periods when they were, just flirting with relegation. And although Forest have recently come back to the Premiership, we haven't seen Derby or Wednesday come back for quite some time now. So these 3 results, obviously, if I'd seen those games, they would have left a pretty bad taste in my mouth. And that actually was, a testing time when the team really had to learn how to get themselves together again. Maybe they had to relearn that level of toughness that they had displayed under George Graham, and now had to apply that under a new manager. So certainly the Forest game, if I'm correct, Kevin Campbell moved to Forest. He might have been playing in the Forest team that game, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so he obviously, if he was playing in that game, he might have had some motivation to do as well as he could. And I think if we can take a look at that season, I don't know if we can take a look at Derby and Forest later on that season, but clearly those 4 games were a huge stumbling block collectively. And then, of course, there was the Sunderland loss away. This was probably the start of the difficult period which tested our credentials as possible championship contenders. And, this probably would have been one of the periods which cost us the chance of winning, or really keeping up our competition for the title. But, again, a new manager, he was still learning everything. And, the following season, I think he came up trumps. So sometimes you have to suffer to enjoy success later on.
Yeah, no, I agree with you big time. Like, because even at let's say, the turn of this season when we lost to Forest and stuff like that, and we went in 2, 3 games, we couldn't even buy a win, And I was there, sack him now. You give the new manager a chance to come in and see what they need for for the last few games of the season, and get the mentality of the players and stuff like that. So, if Arteta does get sacked, let's say November, December, January, or something like that, we're just going round in a circle again. Over the next year, we'll hit the next slide there, Warren.
And one thing about that Forest loss was that actually Stuart Pearce was interim manager, so you can see that there was a little bit of some problems there, and we still lost that game. My goodness.
Yeah. 3-1, Arsenal, Everton, the Premier League. Bergkamp, Vieira, Merson, and Big Duncan Ferguson. He used to always come up with the goals. Big Duncan. Kyle, I'll come to you. I want to talk to you about Merson, just because he's up there. How big of a fan are you or Merson? Obviously Bergkamp, Ian Wright, Vieira sort of outshone him for me, let's say. Now, back in the earlier days, look, he was a legend at the club and stuff like that. But I'm just sort of saying around this time of, 96, 97 season, did you think he was sort of coming to the end, or what was your thought?
I absolutely loved Paul Merson, and I was lucky enough to see Merson coming into the Arsenal team in the first place, boy, and playing for many years with him, and shared many, many exciting times watching him playing. I thought Paul Merson was an exceptional player. He was one of my heroes. I love Robert Pires. Merson always kind of reminded me of Robert Pires playing. He was an outstanding player. And I know that he had his problems away from the field. And it absolutely broke my fucking heart when he came out and gave that press conference and spoke about his gambling addiction and his drug addiction and that he was never going to play for Arsenal again and all the rest of it. I remember sitting on my sofa literally sobbing. I was literally crying into my hands watching Merson that day on Sky Sports. It devastated me because I looked at this man like he was a hero, I worshipped him. I thought he was outstanding. And for his career to come to where it came, it broke my fucking heart. But away from his problems, boy, to me, Paul Merson is without doubt a real fucking Arsenal legend. 100%.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Warren, what do you have to say about Merson since we're sort of talking about him? And I'll get Jez to go as well after you.
First thing I'd say is that I remember him making his debut, and I remember I was stood on the North Bank with a lot of mates, and I was saying to them, "This kid's going to be special." I really I don't know why, I just had this feeling watching him that he was going to be special, and I got laughed at and what are you talking about? He's rubbish and whatnot, and we all saw what he did. Then the other thing I want to say about him is, I don't know if any of you saw that show that was on about a couple of years ago called Harry's Heroes.
Yeah.
And there was all these old ex-pros. Harry got all these old ex-pros to play in this game against the Germans in Germany. And I'm not joking, he was head and shoulders above all the other players on the pitch. He was absolutely superb. He really was. And he was just an enormously talented player. And I just wonder, it's like Gaza, what would have happened if he'd managed to stay away from the booze and the drugs and all the rest of it? How what he would have been able to achieve, because he was incredible. He really was. And, you know, it's really upsetting to see what he had to go through and whatnot. But thankfully now he seems to have got himself back on the right track and stuff. And, yeah, it's nice to see that he's doing so well again now.
You know,
Yeah.
Darren, can I just come in? The tragic thing about Merson was, I think I just put it in the chat, he left at the end of that season. The following season, Arsenal won the double. And when you think about how Tony Adams was rescued, if you will, from his issues with the drink, with his time with Wenger, I think Wenger wanted Merson to stay, but Merson decided to, take a big money move to Middlesbrough, where he played, I think, with Gazza, and ended up making the World Cup squad while Gazza didn't make it. But I really wish that Merson had stayed, because maybe he wouldn't have played as much games, but he could have tasted success winning the double, and he could also have seen his career start to be revived in a way. I think when he left Arsenal, that was the beginning of the decline. We saw some flashes of his old ability with Aston Villa and Portsmouth to an extent, but I think his best days were at the club, and when he left, those best days were ended, I would say.
Yeah, Jez, what do you make?
Paul Merson, absolute legend. And what I love about Paul Merson, the service he gave to this football club is second to none. He played with absolute passion. He gave everything he had. And till this day, he is probably one of the only ex-Arsenal that will call people out.
Yeah.
Unlike people like Keogh, Wright, these absolute fakes that I once respected, having had the honour to watch them play, but now sell their souls for money, I suppose, if you want to put it that way. But Paul Merson still sticks it out there and says it as it is, and he calls out the likes of Arteta and the club, the Cronkies, and all the other idiots that are involved around his club. So for that, to me, he's an absolute true legend.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Like, even Carl's agreeing with you 100%. Well said. And I was only even just thinking that the other day, Jez. Like, what fucking players is left? Like, that the club don't come to and buy their soul. You know what I mean? Like, surely, if you're like, if you're being bought or like, surely just you have to have standards. You know what I mean? As in, like, no, do you know what? That's fucking wrong. I don't give a bollocks how much you're giving me. I'm already a millionaire, or I already have enough money. I don't need to just fucking smile and just go, oh, Super Mikel Arteta. Kyle, like, with Petit is probably another one that I'd say, and like, Merson as well. But, why is Arsenal seem to be the only club that's fucking like this? That we have fucking ex-players who are now dickheads? Because, like, Ian Wright was probably one of my main reasons why I started supporting Arsenal. I fucking idolised him. If I seen him now, I just say I wouldn't cross the road to see him. You know what I mean? He's just such a letdown for me. Sold his soul, and I hate people like that. Yes, I've used the word hate because I hate people that are fucking fake. Have your own opinion. Have your own thoughts. Kyle, what do you make of it, man?
I think that the club is full of fucking fakes anyway, that way. The fan base are full of fakes, apart from a few true ones, like ourselves. I feel that the players are fakes because they're fucking useless. They won't try ranting. The manager is a fake, the board is a fake, and the ownership is a fake. The whole fucking thing is a fake. But what really fucking sickens me, really fucking sickens me, is the likes of fucking Ian Rice, Martin Keown, Ray Parder, Dixon. These fellas were fucking legends. and they're talking fucking shit. Now, it can't be for money, Del Boy. Them lads have to be they have to be millionaires. So why, the question is, why are they fucking doing this? Especially that fucking Martin Keown. He's a fucking dickhead altogether. Prick. I can't understand it, Del Boy, and it fucking hurts me because I used to scream at the TV, fucking shouting for them players, defending them in the schoolyard when I was a chap, defending them in the fucking pubs. And now they're turning their back on us, the real fans, and they're talking shit about our fucking club. Fake, fucking fake. And I've heard Petit. I called him out too. I'm actually hearing Petit saying a few fucking things as well. But I can't understand it. But you're right. Merson is one of the few ones that still speaks up. And that's why I still regard him as a legend. But the rest of them can go fuck themselves, as far as I'm concerned. The scandals, I actually don't have the answer why they're doing what they're doing. I'll be interested to hear what the lads have to say, because it just astounds me, Del Boy. I just can't believe it.
Go ahead, Warren.
No, I just wanted to say, I don't know if they do, but if they don't, then they damn well should do. They should set up some sort of fund, or with the money that club has got, they should have a group of people that look after ex-players, particularly when they fall on hard times, like poor old Kenny Sansom or whatever. You know, when they finish, if they finish their career at the club, help them find a new career, you know, something to do, because, you know, their careers are short, and, you know, if they're lucky, they might go into the sort of lower mid-30s, but after that, then what? Because they don't all go into coaching. There's limited jobs in TV and radio and whatnot for them to go into. And then you have the likes of Kenny Sansom. He ended up being like a street drinker, and it breaks my heart to see players of any club who've, like, you know, played and given their all for a football club, and, you know, try to make a good career for themselves. Yeah, they get a good salary, but, you know, if that's all they've known since they were 17 or 18, what help are they getting, like, to manage, you know, the fall off? You know, and, you know, you have people like Diego Maradona falling into drug addiction and all this sort of carry on and whatnot. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't feel very comfortable about it, because I don't think they get good advice. And I think that these football clubs, including Arsenal, should do more to support them. That's just what I think. I mean, maybe they do, but I don't know about it. But knowing what this club's like, I'll be very surprised if they do. Yeah,
I know. Look, it's fucking starting to boil my blood, and when I get going, you know, you have to get the swear jar out, and I've no change on me this evening. So, look, we'll go to the next slide. You know, we look at that for the team. Jesus Christ, Winterborn, Adams, Bold, Keown, Seaman. As I said earlier on, then back five. And some player now I just want to touch on as well, David Platt. You know, David Platt, you know, from what I look, sorry, was there someone talking there? Or this was backfields. Like David Platt, you know, Manny, what did you think of David Platt at the time? Like, was he coming to an end of his Arsenal career, or how did you feel?
For me, David Platt is a legend, no doubt about it. Italia 90, the second round against Belgium. Euro 96, he played his role. He probably wasn't in the first team, but he still played his role. And so when he came back to England and played for Arsenal, I was delighted. I know that he was rejected by Manchester United, made his name at Aston Villa, and then, you know, based on his Italia 90 displays, went to Italy. And that was at a time, mind you, when it wasn't just Platt. I think Des Walker went to Italy, and Gaza obviously had a stint with Lazio. But that was at a time when a large number of, the Englishmen who went there never really were able to quite stamp their mark on the Italian football scene that much, or maybe they didn't quite have the support. So it was great to see all of them eventually come back to British shores, where they were able to, rediscover why they love the game. Nowadays, if any English players go to Italy, at least they're a lot more culturally aware. But I knew all about Platt's skills, and the best part about Wenger, you see, is that just as well as he was able to work with the back four, with Seaman, with Lukic and everyone else, I believe that the time that David spent at Arsenal were probably was the best way to end his career, in my opinion. And obviously with his England career ending at Euro 96, he had a couple of good seasons with us. I'm really grateful that he was able to, play and really assert his skill and his ability, and had a good end to his career. And it was great to see him playing a role in this Arsenal team that was, re-establishing himself. So for me, I told you my memories of this season are very limited, but the fact that Platt came to Arsenal made me so happy, and seeing how he was able to contribute, that really made me happy as well. I think he got on with almost everyone there like a house on fire. Many of them, of course, from his England days, but otherwise as well. I think he quite enjoyed playing under Wenger, and he had a really good Indian summer ending, so that made me happy.
Yeah. Look, we'll go to the next slide there because, we're still in January here. We better kick on a bit. So United have overtaken us. We're in second. We're fucking useless. Sack them already, I say.
Boy.
Yeah. Look, we're into second, and it's them four. Like what Manny was saying, I think it was them 4 games. That the losses and the draws. Sheffield Wednesday, Nottingham Forest. They didn't help, and United were going strong, and that United team weren't bad. Is there anything that stands out to you there, Warren?
Yeah, just the goals against column. We got the best defence in the league.
Mm.
We only conceded 20. 23. I got that wrong. Sorry, Liverpool had the best defence. Sorry. But we still had a very good defence. We only conceded 23. Liverpool got 20. We were the best. United had 27. And, we were scoring around about the same as all our competitors up the top. So there was still hope for optimism, I'd say, at this point.
Well, even touching on that, Jez, did you have sort of like this season when it was Wenger's first full season? Did you think we could sneak it, the league? Because back then we weren't talking about a top 4; it was just winning the thing.
Well, yeah, when Wenger, let's get it right. I mean, when Wenger came in, I didn't know who he was, didn't have a clue. Don't think there was that many people that did. And I can remember talking to other fans at Highbury saying, well, who is this guy? Where's he come from? But people say, oh, he's been at Monaco and this, that, and the other. And I thought, well, okay, fair play, whatever. Not really. At that point in time, Monaco weren't a big club. And, then we all knew the stories in the press that he'd come from Grand Passat in Japan. And I thought, really? What are we doing? But he certainly had the team set up. You can't deny that. And, of course, all the great battles started with Alex Ferguson. And you can't deny that at this point in Arsene Wenger's career, he was a masterful tactician. And the sexy football he got Arsenal to start playing was second to probably only Barcelona. The players he attracted, and this is a case in point, guys, isn't it? This is a case in point. Arsenal are now back in Europe. And who realistically, after we bottled getting in the Champions League, are we going to attract? we hear all the pussyfooting chat about, we're going to attract this guy. I've seen today on Lee Gunnar's channel, a player we wanted. He wants to stay at Inter Milan. Fair play, okay, his option. Who the bloody hell are Arsenal going to attract in world-class players? Point in case, we have just signed Eddie Nketiah up to a 5-year deal. El Neni, a year extension. Who the hell else in this football club, where we have absolute bloody failures, are we going to keep hanging on to? It's a disgrace. And that, I'm sorry to say, shows the lack of ambition of this football club. But at this point in time, we're talking about here, in 1997, we had a manager at this point in time who had ambition, he had a direction, he had a style of play, he had the tactics, and he had the ability to attract the players to come and play for Arsenal, which eventually made Arsenal Football Club a brilliant, brilliant football club. Arteta is never, ever going to achieve that. I don't give a flying fuck what anybody tells me. And I see it all the time on these different channels about Arteta. He's the next best thing, some idiot the other day said, was it that fucking idiot Julian from AFTV? Yeah, fucking arsehole. Said, I can see Arteta doing Alex Ferguson things. Are you having a fucking laugh? Are you having a fucking laugh? That guy, Julian, needs a serious kick in the face. He's an absolute dick. He's an absolute dick. And it's idiots like him that allow young kids to follow and believe his absolute shit talk. The guy's a wanker. He does no fuck all about Arsenal. He's a fucking liar. And I'll call him out right now, right? And if he's watching this, which he ain't, I'm calling you a liar, Julian, because you were on Princess Guna's channel the other day, and I called you out, you muppet, when you said you were at the 1989 game at Anfield. You're a fucking liar, mate, because you weren't. Because the only people that got tickets for that were Arsenal season ticket holders. And the only season ticket hold you've ever had in your life, and I have proof, is this season. And who paid for it? AFTV. So you're an absolute fucking liar. So you were never at that game, and I know you weren't at that game, because when you were asked what time did the Pope leave Highbury, you didn't bloody know. Now, the Pope is left at 1:30 from Highbury, from the North Bank, Avenel Road, and Highbury Hill. So you're an absolute see you next Tuesday wanker. I can't stand people like you who lie. And I knew you were lying on that show because you were going, If you were there, mate, you'd know the facts. And that Princess Guna, she's a fucking liar. I'll tell you for why. Because when she went on there and she said about, I can't remember where I sat in the stands. Well, if you were at Anfield in that game, there was no seating. It's all terracing, you absolute melt. Yeah? And the only place you would have been is the Anfield Road end in the right-hand corner. Well, that's where the Arsenal fans were. Yeah? 4,000 were there. Right? And there was about 1,000 outside who couldn't get tickets, who were season ticket holders. They didn't have the tokens to get for all the FA Cup games, to get to that, get to all the games for that game at that stand. Right? facts. Fucking facts. And yet that silly little cow tried to call me out by saying that I wasn't at the game. So I called her out by saying, "Oh, she said I've got a flower outside the grounds." And I said, "Why the fuck did you get a flower outside the ground?" They were given to Liverpool fans. "Oh no, that was only in the ground." Well, I can assure you, right? 12 of us were there 2 hours before the start of the game, and I never saw any fucking Arsenal player or any Arsenal person giving flowers to Arsenal fans. Absolute fucking lies, a lot of them. Can't stand them. They need a smack upside the head. Liars.
Well said, Jace. Well said.
Oh man, Jace. Well said, Jace.
Yeah, it's like, you know, and it just shows you that like that the young fans, like, you know, nowadays think that fucking John Robbie walks on fucking water. You know what I mean? And the whole fucking panel of them. You know what I mean? To me, they're a disgrace to the club. I don't give a bollocks. You know, I'm fucking sick of them. And I couldn't give a fuck what anyone private messages me, which they do, you know, calling me out. Guess what? I'm still fucking here, yeah. You know what I mean? Nothing wrong with me. You know what I mean? Bring it on if you want. No problem. Let's have a chat. Fucking asshole.
Sorry about that, boy. I cannot stand these fake arseholes that will lie to get traction. That fucking Julian idiot that you've had on your channel, mate, is an absolute fraud. He is a paid actor. I'm telling you.
Jez, he turned around once and said that Arteta was the greatest ever manager, right? Greatest manager ever. And as you quite rightly said, Del Boy had him on his channel, and then I put in a question. You remember saying that Arteta was the greatest ever manager, and he denied saying it, Jez.
Yeah, I remember. I seen that in the comments, and I threw it up for him. Like, you know what I mean? Now, that was a while back. I haven't got him on my channel since. Like, you know what I mean? But that's because I think I'd have a few words. But look, this is the way we look. We'll get to this at the end. We'll go through this first, and we'll have a chat about it at the end. Do you want to go to the next slide there, and we'll see where it leads us? Leeds United 0-0. Fuck's sake, Spurs away 0-0. Losing to Man United, losing to Wimbledon, the crazy gang. You know, at home, 2 at-home games lost in a row. You know, why wasn't he fucking sacked? You know, Jesus Christ. Like, geez, what a bad February match when you look at it. It's draw, like, you know, 3 wins, and we're losing to Liverpool. You know, not great results there, Kyle. You know,
2 draws and 3 home losses there, Del Boy, if I could make that out right. Is my eyesight bad, or am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 draws and 3 home losses. Not good, Del Boy. Not good at all. A bad February and March.
Yeah. Sorry, can you see that?
Yeah, I'm looking here, yeah.
February and March.
Draw against Leeds. A draw against Tottenham, getting beaten by Man United. Getting beaten by Crazy Gang. And then Liverpool beating us as well. Not good at all, Del Boy.
Like, you know,
that's not championship material there, Del Boy. You wouldn't win Premier Leagues by that, but looking at that fixture list there.
Yeah.
Especially getting beat by the Crazy Gang.
That, like, they were fucking really bad back then. You know what I mean?
Was that fucking Vinnie Jones who scored that winner for? I think Vinnie Jones scored that winner for Wimbledon. Am I right there, Warren?
I can't. What did he say, Del Boy?
He says
Vinnie Jones.
Vinnie Jones scored the winner there against us at home, the Wimbledon.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Sorry, mate.
You know the Wimbledon game there, 1-0. Was it Vinnie Jones that scored that goal?
I can't remember, mate. Honestly, sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm sure man is looking it up now as I speak.
You know me well, Dale. I mean, yeah. Arsenal,
I
Wimbledon.
think- I think
It was
he
Vinnie Jones who
scored
scored
the
that.
volley.
It was Vinnie Jones.
Yeah, he scored a volley. I was thinking that. Yeah,
Mm.
I remember
But I mean,
watching that game.
what to make of them few results there, man? What, like, it was a bad month, 2 months.
Shocking.
Manny, can you hear us there?
Yeah, I didn't realize you were talking to me. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. I'm just saying the February, March results there, they're pretty bad.
You know, that last period you showed us, Del, there was a huge clump of bad results, 4 in succession, and we had another one in between. 2 of those defeats were to teams that were relegated that season, Sunderland and Nottingham Forest. So that would be a real kick in the teeth. And then here as well, we have a huge clump of bad results, including 2 home losses. So this actually seems to be a sign that maybe in its first season, you go on a winning run, things go really well, and everything's rosy in the garden. But then when you start to have a bad result, doubt starts to creep in, and you get into a little bit of a funk. And again, maybe that was Wenger just feeling his way in, and the players learning how to win, to get the results they needed again. Losing to Wimbledon would definitely have been a horror. You can't blame them for losing to United and Liverpool, who were, obviously doing really well during that season. But Wimbledon were also a team that would give as good as they got. Vinnie Jones would testify to that. But again, there's that huge clump. And when you have these clumps of bad games, that really hurts you and really stagnates your process. So it'll be interesting to see what the league table would be at the end of that period. But I'm pretty certain that, they would have fallen out of the top 2 by then.
Yeah, like you can see it there, sort of see where the players' names are, league position. So you can see third, down to fourth, third, second after the Nottingham Forest win. So the league was pretty tight. I can't remember where we finished, to be honest with you, in this year. So I'll be interested to see what the league is like at the end of it.
I think they finished third. They finished third, Delboy. They finished third.
Third, yeah. So there you are. Look, Champions League. But I remember, Warren, I'm going to come to you. I remember at the time, I wasn't really panicking, about, shit, is this the right manager? I sort of still had a bit of confidence in it because I don't know what it was, being honest with you. I don't know. But I always remembered coming into the start of the 98 season, I think maybe it was because of the signings that he done in the summer. And I may be wrong, but no, I'm not wrong, I don't think. I remember Nicolas Anelka, when we signed him, I was just, wow, what a footballer. The speed of him was unbelievable, But sort of around this time of the season when Wenger was he's a few months in the job now. Were you sort of, did we sign the right manager? Didn't we? Should we or were you on board the Arsene Wenger gravy train?
I was, because I could see the football we were playing. It was exciting. I hadn't seen Arsenal play like that before.
Yeah.
Even with Chippy at his pomp, we weren't playing this football like this. It was, and I'd love to have seen Liam Brady in his prime playing under Arsene Wenger, man. At his prime, it would have been unbelievable. It would have. I reckon we would have won the Champions League, no question. I really do, and we would have dominated English football for years. But that's never going to happen. But no, I wasn't worried. I wasn't.
Yeah, and Jez, what Warren was saying there, the type of play that Wenger, was making us play. Was it a breath of fresh air for you, or from the George Graham 1-0 to the Arsenal? What was it like in the ground, the atmosphere? To Wenger's style of play.
Initially, it was a little bit stilted, but people started to realise what was coming about, because the flowing football that was starting to happen. I mean, that game, I was at a few of them games, and the Nottingham Forest game, how that didn't end up like 6-0. It's crazy, but you could see his philosophy. You could see what he wanted to achieve, and you started to think, something's good coming here, you know. And the match against Man United, all right, it was a loss, but they had an unbelievable football team. And you could honestly see Wenger's way that he wanted to push on. So you have to say it was a massive, massive improvement from the George Graham days, where it was basically, 1-0 to the Arsenal back then. And we accepted it because we won. But Arsene Wenger was pushing for bigger and better things. And he was starting to strive and prove it. And having the fact that Rioch had got in Bergkamp was a major, major plus sign for this club. Because the fact that he'd got in Bergkamp, my view, honestly, I think that said to a lot of the players we did get in, wow, we got Bergkamp at Arsenal, yeah, I'm happy to come and play. When we got in the other, like Vieira, Henry, Pires, all these players, because to sign a player like Bergkamp back then was a major achievement. Major. I mean, this guy was absolute world class. And I'll put it out there, and people may disagree with me, and they probably will. This was probably Arsenal's first real world class signing in my book. A true world class player.
Ted Drake, Les.
Sorry?
Ted Drake.
Ted Drake. Well, yeah, you say that, man. Yeah, I won't disagree.
No, I'm only joking, Jez. It's a joke. Sorry, mate.
No, I wouldn't disagree with you. But, when I get onto that in a few weeks in the history shit, I agree. But Dennis Bergkamp was an absolute icon of a player.
Yeah, because in the modern game, he would have been what? Equivalent to
I'd say
Neymar or someone like that, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, all day.
Better than Neymar. Dennis Bergkamp to me is the greatest Arsenal footballer of all time.
Wow.
Right up there.
I read like Thierry Henry was a great goal scorer, a great player too. But to me, Dennis Bergkamp was by far the better footballer. And to me, Bergkamp is the greatest Arsenal player of all time, in my eyes. That's just my opinion.
Can't deny that.
Yeah,
right up there.
Because, for me, let's say, talking to me young fella Zach and stuff like that, because I always, go back and show him clips on YouTube and stuff like that, and he's always asking me, Thierry Henry is always scoring the goals and stuff like that. And he goes, but he's not your favourite ever Arsenal player. And he said, why is he not, And it's, I just find it hard to explain to him about Bergkamp. I just think, just the way he played football, the way, the ball stuck to him. Even remembering the Euros, I'll never forget the goal. It just came over the top and it stuck to his boot. I remember, when he was playing for Holland and that happened. It was in the Euro 96. And I forget the game it was, but I remember it just came over the top. He was actually near the edge of the line and it stuck to his boot. And I can guarantee you, after that match was played, I went out into the field with all my mates and we were all trying to do it for hours and hours and hours. You know what I mean? And to this day, I still can't fucking do it. You know, I was hoping, back then I was hoping people would call me Del Boy Bergkamp, you know, but the name didn't stick.
That was the World Cup game against Argentina, Del Boy.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Argentina. Yeah, that was amazing. The timing was exquisite.
Yeah,
I just have to say there,
1998.
Del Boy, I'll just say there, in my opinion, we've seen thousands of goals. Dennis Bergkamp's goal against Newcastle is the greatest Premier League goal ever scored. End of story.
Yeah, you look, come here. It's fucking splitting hairs here, man. Like, you know, really, wow. Like the goals he did score, in fairness, like some of them were just top drawer. Like, you know, can you imagine the Arteta sexuals like watching Bergkamp today play for Arsenal? You know, they think Odegaard is unbelievable. My God, I'd say fucking Odegaard wouldn't fucking wash his jocks. You know what I mean? Never mind lace his boots. You know, fuck
Wouldn't
me.
be on the same pitch.
Wouldn't be on the same pitch. Bergkamp, I'd say, would refuse to play with the chap. Just get away from you. You know what I mean? Go over and get fucking Hugo Lloris to fucking wash your hair. You fucking idiot. You know? But, yeah, come here. Look, we'll go to the next slide. I'm getting wound up now. I am big time. Yeah, this game. I remember this game. Robbie Fowler. You know, yeah, Collymore. McAteer. Look, it stands out for you, Kyle, as well, with McAteer scoring. You know,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, do you want to go ahead, Manny, or do you want to have a chat?
No, I just wanted to say that he was an Irish legend, just wanting to take the mickey, but I think you wanted Kyle to say something, so I'm just going to mute myself.
Yeah, Kyle McAteer.
A decade. He scored a goal against Holland, and he just lived on that for the rest of his career. He was all right, Del Boy, but he was only all right. Lads gets carried away thinking he was something special. He was okay of a player. As I say, he just lived on that goal against Holland that time, and that's it. He was okay. I've seen better.
Yeah. You know, like fucking. Yeah, like I'm the same. All he just does now is fucking play ex-Liverpool legends versus the rest of the world or something like that. Fuck off. And I never warmed to him. Roy Keane certainly didn't warm to him. we won't say that.
Sure he didn't. No, you have to be real about it, Del Boy. You have to speak facts. Like, we're Irish. And just because the player is Irish, we shouldn't have to big him up and make him out to be something that he's fucking not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And McAteer was anything but a great player. He was okay at base.
Yeah. Like,
And that's something there for Jason Warren and Mandy there. I think that's a big problem the England international team have. The paparazzi makes the English team, they're going to win the World Cup. They're going to win the European Cup. They puts the pressure on the English team straight away. And they hypes up these players, make them out to be something fucking special. And to be average players. And then they wonder why England don't win anything. And England should be winning World Cups and they should be winning European Championships because they have the players to win them. But too much pressure, too much hype. And we have them in our own team. Saka, Smith Rowe. They're fucking overhyped. They're good players. That's all they are. Good. They're not world class or anything.
Yeah.
And that goes for the Irish too, Del Boy.
Aye.
I'm not going to stand here and say that McAteer was a great player. This fella was great because I'm Irish. Fuck him. He was only okay.
100%. I agree with you 100%. And come here. I'm going doing an Irish watch along for the Armenia game. It's at 2:00. I'm doing on my own. I don't know how the fuck it's going to go. I'll probably have a man and his fucking dog watching. I don't give a bollock. But I'll tell you one thing, right? As you said, Kyle, the Irish people are, like, you know, the Irish football fans are, oh, God, he got a game against fucking Derby. He scored a goal. He's fucking unreal. He's in Division 1 or the champion fucking league. You know, relax, cool the fuck down. So there is another Irish football channel you can watch, and by all means go ahead. But Craig Malloy actually said it to me, texted me there. I think it was Craig. He says, oh no, Jamino. That's Jamino. That's who it was. He says, Del Boy, Stephen Kenny, the Irish manager, is like fucking Arteta. You know what I mean? And he's fucking spot on. You know what I mean? There's a lot of Stephen Kenny sexuals, but I'll be calling them out and they'll be fucking me watch along at 2 o'clock on Saturday morning. But anyway,
I agree with you, and he should never have gotten the job. McCarthy should never have been forced out to bring Kenny in because McCarthy was doing a good job rebuilding the team. He should have at least been allowed to see them through to the end of the Euro qualifiers. So for Kenny to come in, I think he bollocks that up, and I don't think he's made that much in terms of progress, aside from maybe developing some good youth players.
Yeah, 100%. Look, we'll go to the next slide. We'll get moving because I want to fucking mention one or two
I
things.
just wanted to say about this game.
There's a
Say that again, Colin.
There's a fella being called up to the Irish team, Usobi. He's actually from Enniscorthy, where I'm from my hometown here. I saw him playing football underage. He was brilliant. But he got the call up, so we're going to see him against Ukraine there, that boy.
Right, grand. We'll call him out.
We call him out.
Go ahead, Warren.
No, I just wanted to say about this game. I believe, I might be wrong, but I think this was the game where Robbie Fowler stopped David Seaman from being sent off.
He did.
David Seaman brought him down, or it looked like he brought him down in the penalty area, and he was going to I think the referee was going to give a penalty. Robbie Fowler jumped up and was going like this with his finger, going, no, don't do it. And I think it stopped the referee from giving the penalty and sending Seaman off. I might be wrong, but I remember it happening. I don't know if it was in this game or it was Fowler.
Warren, it was in that game, Warren.
I'm pretty sure it was definitely Seaman that was involved, and it was against Liverpool, but I can't remember whether it was Michael Owen or Robbie Fowler that he brought down, and the referee was going to send Seaman off and give a penalty, and then he changed his mind, I think.
You're correct.
I think, if I can step in, Warren, I think he didn't send Seaman off, but he did give the penalty, award the penalty. I think it was Fowler who took the penalty, and safe hand saved it, but then the rebound was scored. And if it was Fowler who scored the rebound, it wouldn't have been this game because he wasn't on the score sheet. It might have been another game.
Jez, do you want to come in there?
Sorry, say again, mate.
Did you want to jump in there, man, just about that, the Fowler thing?
Yeah, it's Robbie Fowler that went down in the box, and he said to the referee, no. But it wasn't this game because the referee gave the penalty.
Fair play.
Yeah. I do remember that all right. Like, you know, we go to the next slide. There's the team against the Liverpool. So we've no one doing the YMCA there. So we've at the back, Marshall. I cannot fucking say I remember that chap. Does that ring a bell with any of you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him, young lad.
Was his name Scott, Jez? Was it Scott Marshall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was he made his debut the season before.
Right.
All right. And is that Hughes? Was that Stephen Hughes or something, was it?
Yeah, Stephen Hughes.
Yeah, I remember I was expecting big things from him. He was only sort of a bit part player back then. You know, and then look, you have Vieira and Platt. Like, Vieira, when he first sort of came to the club, like, you know, Jesus Christ, we all sort of knew straight away we had a baller. Like, you know, sort of recapping the season there, you know, Warren, like, you know, with Vieira, like, sort of sum up, let's say, him as a player for Arsenal. Like, you know, I think he came in straight away. The players didn't know what to make of him because he was coming from France. I'm sure his English at the time wasn't great. But by Jesus, when he played football, they knew he was a leader.
There's a couple of things I remember about him when he first came, right? But before I say that, I just remember like him, like these long legs, like just rampaging through other teams' midfield, and he was just an absolute beast. And my God, could we do with someone like that now in our midfield? He would just. He'd pick up the ball and he'd run with it, and he'd stop people getting through. You'd think they'd beaten him, and these long legs would come out, and he'd fucking tackle someone and get the ball off them and get going again. I mean, the game at Tottenham sticks out when he just ran through their midfield and put someone in to score. It was just immense. The other thing I remember about him was a game. I think it was against Liverpool at Highbury, and he got sent off, and he lost the plot, threw his shirt down, and said, "That's it, I'm finished. I'm not playing again." And he just threw the shirt down and just stormed up the tunnel, and but. Because he had this thing with the referees, I just think they were quite harsh on him. But it also, I think he had a bit of trouble at the beginning, sort of adjusting to the English game, and the opposition were winding him up because he was seen as having a short fuse, and he got sent off a few times, and then this particular game, he just had enough, and he threw his shirt down and went storming up the tunnel. So, yeah, that's my memories of him, and he was just superb, mate. Honestly, and if we could have a player like that now, my God.
You'd straight away move into the fucking top two anyway of the fucking league. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah.
The Thursday, man. Vieira just fucking drove everyone on. And even to think that Adams was still there, Mr. Captain, Mr. Arsenal was still in that team, but Vieira was still a leader in that team right there. Des, for a question for you from me, would Vieira be in your all-time, now you don't have to name it, but I'm just saying, would Vieira be in your all-time Arsenal 11?
All day.
Wow. That's fucking amazing.
All day, man. All day. Iconic player. When that guy came to Arsenal, I didn't know who he was. I put my hands up, Back then, you didn't have all the information about playing. I remember the first time I saw him play, and he was a bit of, he was a bit of a lump. I wouldn't say he's the quickest player in the world, but he could certainly play a bloody game of football. And I remember thinking, Jesus, this guy's going to do stuff, and he proved it. I mean, that guy was an absolute legend of this football club, and he would be in my top 11. I'll tell you what, if I was back in time, if we'd seen him, I'm going to say this, if I'd seen him, Liam Brady and Bergkamp on the same pitch, dear God, what a midfield that would have been.
Wow. Yeah. Can you imagine that? Fucking hell. Unbelievable. Kyle, what's your sort of thoughts on Vieira?
Del boy, I went over, when I first went over to see the Arsenal with Vieira in the team for the first time, I couldn't believe the size of him. And what really got me was the length of his legs. And the other thing was, for such a big man, his first touch and his skill on the ball was absolutely outstanding. And we will never get battles like what we did with Vieira versus Keane. We'll never see things like that again in the game. It was absolutely fucking outstanding to watch. Patrick Vieira would make my all-time greatest Arsenal team all day long, like what Jay say. He was the ultimate midfield player for me, box to box. He had everything. He was absolutely a pleasure and a joy to watch. And we were very lucky to be able to say that we saw him live and that we saw him on the television as the captain of Arsenal Football Club. And there's a statue of Tony Adams, Dennis Bergkamp, Vieira, Herbert Chapman. There's one, Wenger is going up next. And I think and I feel that there should be one of Patrick Vieira, a statue of Vieira outside the Emirates Stadium as well. He was fucking outstanding. Best midfield player. Him and Roy Keane were two of the best. And that's it. There's no one can touch him.
100%. 100% agree with you. And Manny, I'll let you come in there as well, because look, because he's such a fucking legend of the club, I have to let all the panel have their say on him.
There's nothing I can say that's already been said about him, except I will say this. For someone who was a central midfielder, normally a position associated with a lot of hard graft and, real grit, he had such an elegance about him that would set him apart from almost everyone. And I know how great Roy Keane was. I know how much you all love him. But Vieira was a level higher than him because of that languid grace. And he'd definitely be in my all-star team. I've seen some of the best of George Graham's team as well. But Vieira would definitely come in. He'd be a huge improvement over someone like Paul Davis, for instance. Nothing more to be said.
Yeah, no, 100%. Gordon, do you want to go to the next clip? So there we are. We're in the fucking mud. We're in the mud, third in the league. And look, we're looking at them few results that we had there, and no wonder we did slip down. United's there, 6 points ahead of us. Liverpool, 3 points behind United, 3 ahead of us. We have 32 games. They have a game in hand over us. Warren, for you, because United and Liverpool were strong, I suppose that season, was the league done for you? End of March, start of April?
I don't know. Looking at it here in the cold light of day, I would be saying, no, it's not. I'd say, look, it's going to be unlikely, but we've still got a chance. Do you know what I mean? We're still in the thing. The thing that would worry me would be looking at Newcastle, because we've got 2 games in hand, and if they won those 2 games, they would be a point ahead of us. We'd slip down to 4th. But I'd be sitting there thinking, no, it's not done and dusted, but it's going to be unlikely.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm just looking then at Forest and stuff like that, 31. Coventry, 30, Southampton, Middlesbrough, Sunderland, Derby. And I suppose Wimbledon, if you look at them, they're in 8th position. They did beat us 1-0, but fair enough. They're fairly up there. We were in 8th. We finished 8th 2 seasons ago.
Look at the makeup of the league, though, the teams that are in it. The teams that aren't in it anymore. You've got Wimbledon, you've got Blackburn, you've got Derby, Sunderland, Middlesbrough, Nottingham Forest, although they come back up this year, and Coventry.
Yeah, Sheffield Wednesday,
Sheffield Wednesday.
It's mad, but I'm just looking at the goals against. We're on 28. Still, Liverpool had a very good back line as well. 26. That certainly got them right up there in the mix.
And Villa, they're 27. You see, they used to have a really good side.
That's what. Yeah, I suppose back then Dwight York would have been with them then, and Mark Bosnich would have been in goal. Yeah, look, we'll go on to the next slide. Here, April, May. Here we go. Win, win, draw, draw, loss, win. Away to Chelsea, and I suppose back then Chelsea weren't the Chelsea that we know today. Away still a fair result. 3-0. Platt. I was going to say Wenger, Righty, and Bergkamp. The draw, Blackburn. Home, not great. Coventry City away, draw. They're the ones that can hurt you, but certainly the one that sticks out to me is the home game loss to Newcastle. Even though Newcastle were up there, it would have been a game that they could have pulled us back into fourth, as you said, with their game in hand. Jez, were you at any of them games that you can recall?
I was at the Chelsea game, Leicester, and the Blackburn, and the Newcastle.
Wow.
The Chelsea game, let's be fair, Chelsea that day were absolutely appalling. That should have been 5-0 at half time, game over. Let's be honest. They were terrible. But the Newcastle game, Arsenal were absolute shite. It was like watching. How can I describe it to you? Do you remember watching the Nottingham Forest FA Cup game this year?
Yeah.
Season? It was as bad as that. It was awful. I don't know what happened that day. The defence was shocking. Be fair, Newcastle really should have scored 4 at least. It was a terrible day, awful atmosphere. The whole thing was just a joke. And that's what killed it that season. But going back to the previous thing you were talking about, when we were in that third spot, I never actually accepted we were going to get to win the league, because Man United this season were relentless, and I honestly couldn't see them failing, to be fair. So I basically at that point, it was, to me, it was game over, and it was a matter of just trying to secure either second or third. But yeah, but let's get it right. Let's put it in perspective. Wenger had a direction, and we could start to see what he wanted to achieve. So I wasn't overly disappointed, to be fair. He showed his ambition, he showed his tactics, and he was showing his qualities as a manager in directing the team in the right direction. And there we say it, he went on to prove it.
Yeah, 100%. Even at the time, Wenger wasn't fucking landing airplanes in the middle of the highway, like the other fucking idiot is to the Emirates, and I second that, what you say, Jess, because, I remember at the time, even through these games, I wasn't panicked. I knew there was something happening. I knew that, this fella is different. And you were reading in the papers from the players themselves, and interviews that were given, that their diet was changing. And Wenger did. I don't care what anyone fucking tells me. He changed Premiership football by what he done the next season. Arsenal went on, he just fucking annihilated everyone. And it was because of getting the players' diet right, telling the players they're not allowed to drink, everything like that. And it changed the game 100%. Kyle, would you agree with me on that? Can you hear me, Kyle?
He's gone.
Yeah, I think we can't hear you there, Kyle. If you can, I'll come to you, Mane. Then, do you think Wenger changed the English football?
Short answer of it, yes, he did, because obviously there was still this culture about, win or lose, get on the booze, this mentality. When he came, he obviously, set about changing it. I do remember an earlier podcast of yours, Del, where I believe it was Jez, Warren, and Kenny Kent who were talking about how, even George Graham was quite strict with regard to players' diets. I mean, probably not to the extent of Wenger telling them, there's not going to be any social drinking, but Graham was actually quite strict. I remember I asked the question whether or not, I don't recollect the question, but I think it was something of the lines of, would Graham have had the same success with Wenger's team, or was it vice versa? I don't remember. But surely the way Wenger went about things, it was, a revolution. And the proof is there in how Tony Adams' career was revitalized. And as I said, if Paul Merson had stayed, he would have definitely reaped the benefits, in my opinion. So yes, it was a change for the better. But, I mean, there were quite a few managers like Graham and also Harry Redknapp who were quite against, drinking as much. But Wenger really, I think the way he did it, the way when it came to revitalizing the players' diets and their lifestyles, he was the one who sort of reinvented the wheel, as it were. And for that alone, he deserves nothing but credit, in my opinion. He was the trailblazer. He was the pioneer.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, I'll just come back to you. I don't know. Can you hear me there now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yeah. I was just saying, Wenger, do you think he changed English football, the way dieting, no drinking, stuff like that?
He changed the whole culture of Arsenal Football Club, number one. And then he changed the whole culture of the Premier League. And Alex Ferguson once said that he not only changed Arsenal, but he also changed the rest of us. And when you hear Ferguson saying that about the manager, that's telling you everything you need to know. He came in with a different philosophy than the rest of the managers. And like Manny said, he prolonged a lot of the players' careers. As example, Tony Adams. What he did for the game of football in the English Premier League is exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. Brilliant. And it's just a pity, that boy. It fucking kills me because I loved him. And I loved what he did for our club.
Mm.
He spent 5 or 6 years too long at the club. And it's a pity because we always give out about it. Do you know what I mean? It's like a player coming to the end of his career and he said to himself, I go another year, and he has a disaster of a season. You'll always remember him for that last season. I'm a Bon Jovi fan, and he had a concert there. He's out doing a kind of a tour around America. The man is finished. He can't sing anymore. So, you come to a point where you have to just go, but he couldn't go. He just couldn't go. He couldn't walk away. It's a pity because the first 10 years was just unbelievable and something that we will never see again as Arsenal fans.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. We'll go to the next slide there and just see we're near the end of the season now. 3-0 to the Arsenal against so that's the game you were at, Jez. We were talking about Ian Wright, Flash Bergkamp. On fire that day. Warren, anything to say, mate?
No, not really, mate. I think Jez summed it up quite well. I mean, it was a bit of a stroll in the park, really. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
We can go to the next one. We sort of just touched on that there. Jez was just talking about it there. Do you want to go to the next slide there? There's the team that day. Winterburn, Bold, Keown, Dixon, Hughes, Vieira. Yeah, Gramandi. Yeah, Platt, Wright, Bergkamp. I suppose Gramandi didn't really strike up an exact, comparing them now to Petit and Vieira, how good the two of them were. Yeah, go
Sorry,
ahead.
there, boy. That's not man. That's Remy Gard in midfield.
Ah, Remy Gard, Jesus Christ. Fuck's sake. I'm walking out here. Do you want to take the rest of the stream? You know, but like, let's talk about Petit. Petit and Vieira in the middle. You know, what a centre midfield pairing they had. You know, Warren Petit.
Look, he's on
you know,
the bench for that game.
Oh, Nicholas
Yeah.
and Elke.
hmm
Like, Jesus Christ. That chap, I'll tell you, I said it earlier on, the speed of him was unbelievable. Jez, well, can you remember the first time you seen an Elkin? Like, what was your thoughts?
Nicholas Melker. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I was overly impressed, to be fair. Unexpected signing at the time, to be honest. But he certainly proved to be a quality player. I mean, in this particular game, when he came on for Wright, I wouldn't say he was awesome, but he certainly showed some quality. That is for sure. I think on the day, he showed certain qualities, but he also showed absolute pace and the fact of his dribbling skills. Unreal, unbelievable. But he went on, and in my book, proved to be a great player for the club. Unfortunately, his family were too much involved with him. And all right, Arsenal sold him for a massive profit. I think, was it 27 million or something? Yeah. But, in my book, it was a sad time because I actually think he was a great player. He was a great player.
Yeah, unbelievable. Like, I don't, Kyle, like, what did you think of Anelka, like, when he first sort of came?
Anelka, when he first came, I didn't know much about Anelka. And then when I did see him, he had potential of being pure quality. You could see that he had quality, but you just didn't know which direction he was going to go in. But that boy, there's no doubt about it. He was a brilliant player. But for me, that boy, I still believe he could have went an extra step in his career. I still don't think he reached his full potential. I think he was ruined by his family. I think his brothers now were agents and stuff like that. But he was a great player, and there's a great documentary on Netflix about him as well. I don't know if any of you saw it, but it's brilliant. But I remember when I went over again, one of the times when I went over to see Arsenal, I couldn't believe the fucking pace of that boy. He was so fast, lightning fast. But brilliant, a brilliant player without a shadow of doubt.
Manny, do you want to talk about Anelka?
Again, I think he was a key part in the double winning side this season. Obviously, before that was a breakout season. No real memories of him as much as a player. I mean, I have to look at archives. He certainly had some talent and should have gone a long way. But I think, as Kyle said, maybe all wasn't well with him and the club. Maybe there were some external factors that were, influencing him. And so when he left Real Madrid, I can't say that I was overly upset, as it were, because I knew that we'd be getting someone else to come and replace him and do as good a job, if not better. And of course, the fact that he went on to play for Liverpool and Chelsea means that he's slightly down a notch in that.
Yeah, 100%. We go to the next slide. Final FA Premier League table. There we are. Yay, we're in the top 3. We're fucking unreal. Quick, give him a 10-year contract, or 20 actually, in the end. That's the going rate back then, But look, United were clear champions, They were unbelievable, as you said. But 68, the nearest Newcastle then behind them, and Arsenal. You know, Liverpool dropped off, you know, in the mud. But look at the goals conceded with Liverpool 25. Wow. Arsenal 30. Sorry, I'm reading that wrong. Arsenal 32 goals conceded. Liverpool 37. Aston Villa 34. Wow. Like, you know what I mean? That's some serious defending. Like, you know, when you look at it through the season, Warren, you know, like it speaks volumes, really, doesn't it, about the defence?
It does, and I've heard people claiming that Arsene Wenger wouldn't have had the success he had at Arsenal if he hadn't have come in and had that defence there waiting for him. I think Merson might have said it. He may have been. I might be wrong, but I think Paul Merson said it. But yeah, 32 goals in 38 games is just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? It really is. It's unreal.
Yeah,
you know, you've got a manager now. You know, he concedes like 46 goals in 38 games, and everyone's going on like he's fixed the defence, and yeah, just it's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah. Like even just looking at the defeat there, like there was 8 defeats in the season. Like, Jesus Christ.
Mm.
Can you imagine today's fucking fan base? 8 defeats, Jez. You know what I mean? Like Arteta, how many defeats do we have? 13, was it? 13, 14 defeats? 13. You know, can you imagine what the fucking Arteta sexuals were thinking back then? If they were, well, most of them probably weren't even born, but it's still in their dad's sack.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the thing. You know, the other night, fair play to the fella, nice, lovely young lad, came on your fan calling. Sadly for him, he's never ever seen Arsenal win a league championship, and this is the problem. Warren, Manny, and Kyle, is that a lot of these guys that comment on social media and have got their dicks stuck up Arteta's arse is because they believe in the bullshit that this club promotes. Now, back in time, all you guys will know and remember that Arsenal didn't accept second best. It was Arsenal want the best. Now, the fan base, unfortunately, driven by idiots, and I call them absolute idiots, on social media. And I'll call this out. I was watching before your show, Joel, some American bird who's got a channel.
Oh, God, yeah.
Right? Who calls herself, I can't think of her name now. She's an American bird, and she talks about Arsenal, and her badge is Arsenal 2020. I put a comment in there. Well, fucking Arsenal have been around a lot longer than fucking 2020. And she calls herself that she knows everything about Arsenal. So I put a comment in, right? Well, I said to her, if you know everything about Arsenal, who was the manager? Who was the 2 managers that got Arsenal promoted to Division 1 in 1904 and 1905? Of course I didn't get a reply, because she doesn't know. She doesn't know. And yet this is some fucking idiot American bird who thinks she knows all about Arsenal. So I put another question into her. Have you ever been to see Arsenal play? Now, I'm not disrespecting people that can't get to see Arsenal play. But don't sit there on your fucking channel and try and talk to people like me, like you, Del, like Warren, like Manny, like Kyle, yeah, and try to educate me about Arsenal when you know absolutely jack fucking shit. Because all she can talk about is potential signings and potential people leaving. And the idiots that are in her chat, they're all the fucking Americans. Because, when you go around lots of channels like we do, Del Boys, Warrens, Kyle's, mine, you get to see a common factor. You go on Lee Gunners, you go on Stephen Fleetley, you go on Lucas, all these different channels. You get the same people in there that have a common interest. But when you go on an idiot fucking channel like her, and that stupid cow, Princess fucking Guna, I think, who the fuck are you? And you're trying to talk to me. But I've been going to watch this team for 50 fucking, I'm 61 now. So 54 years. And you're trying to educate me. Are you having a fucking laugh? Jesus Christ. Sorry. But this football club, I swear to God, will see me in a coffin.
Hopefully not.
Honestly.
Mayor, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you, guys. I do the same. You be listening, and I'm sure everyone else and every people in the chat, and you do think you're on your own. You're just going, am I fucking dreaming here, or what the fuck is going on? What's this fucking idiot that's on my fucking computer or phone talking about? Seriously, Jesus Christ, do me a favour and fucking educate yourself, you kick, before you fucking start up a channel or start going on Twitter and fucking mouthing off that, I know this about Arsenal, I know that about Arsenal. Well, guess what? You don't fucking know fuck all if you have fucking stupid fucking 2020. I don't even know who these people are, by the way. You know what I mean? But you sound fucking stupid to me. Warren, just before I just get rid of the screen here, is there anything else you just want to pop up before we take it down? And
I was going to have a look at that's a graph, but that's the positions throughout the season. Let's just have a quick look at this. We went out of the League Cup on the fourth round, losing 4-2 at Liverpool.
Yeah.
Lee Dixon don't look very happy, does he?
Yeah.
The FA Cup, we lost 1-0 at home to Leeds.
Fuck. No, Wallace, I remember that. I remember that fucking game. Yeah.
And then this one, the UEFA Cup Winners' Cup. No, UEFA Cup it was. It wasn't Cup Winners' Cup. That's wrong. Yeah. It was the UEFA Cup. We lost 6-4 on aggregate to Borussia Mönchengladbach. And I remember that game because I remember the bench was actually a bench. It was like, it was just like an actual bench that you'd get in a gym or something like that. And there was all these, all the Arsenal people sitting on the bench, and Arsene Wenger, I don't think he was in control yet properly. I think he'd only been appointed a couple of days, and he went and sat on the bench with them all in the away game. But yeah, so I just thought it'd be nice to throw that up.
Oh yeah. Effenberg. I remember, he used to play for Sweden. I remember him actually.
No, not Sweden. He played for Germany and Bayern Munich.
Sorry. Oh yeah.
And there was a slide over there which showed them exiting. I think it was the League Cup. It was to Liverpool. That I think might be the game, Warren, where Seaman avoided being sent off and Fowler scored that penalty. I think that might be the game that season.
Yeah.
No, Manny, there was a Premier League game that was, buddy.
Oh, then that could have been the away game. Then that could have been the away game at Anfield, maybe. I don't know. And of course, the home loss to Leeds. George Graham managed Leeds that day. Horrible.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. Don't go there. Yeah, is there anything else there?
That's it. All done and dusted.
And thanks a million for doing the slides again, Warren. Really appreciate it. I'm just gonna go around. Before we wrap up, we'll just fucking have a quick fucking chat about what's going on at the club now. Like, you know, all these superstar players that are arriving on the doorstep. Mikel Arteta, he's flying around the planet. Fucking Edu is on the speedboat with his fucking speedos, his tight speedos. He's sailing all over the world in his jet ski. You know what I mean? They're scouring the internet for fucking world class superstars. You know what I mean? But guess what? We'll get fuck all of them. You know what I mean? Kyle, can you see any top class players or players that you would be excited about coming to the club?
I see fuck all, Del Boy. And I tell you, I fucking fuming. This is my area. I'm fucking fuming. The turn around to give that fucking donkey and any an extra year contract with an additional year on it if he wants it. That's a fucking joke. I don't give a fuck. I'm fucking sick listening to fans saying he's a squad player. He's fucking useless. The other fucking thing. The club, Arteta said he's bringing the club to the next level. The next fucking level, he said. Giving Eddie Nketiah a fucking 5-year contract, £100,000 a week, plus a £5 million sign-on fee. What the fuck level is he talking about? Escaping relegation. And then we're connected to all these different fucking players across Europe. Every day you wake up, we're linked to this fella, linked to that fella. Linked the fuck on. And let me tell you, let me get something fucking straight. They're on about Jesus coming to us. 1 year left on his contract, and we're on about paying out 45 million for him. Jesus is not the fucking answer for Arsenal Football Club. Jesus and Eddie Nketiah could be our two fucking strikers this season. It's going to be a disaster, that boy. Shaq is still there. Like, fuck me. I don't see where this club is going. They don't want to compete. They're just okay to float along. I don't see any big signings there, boy. Jesus, everybody be saying it's a big sign of Jesus. Fuck Jesus. I want bigger, I want fucking better. Because my standards for the club is up here. As far as I'm concerned, what that fucking club is doing is bringing the standards down here. Forget about competing. We're not going to compete again next season. It's a fucking joke. Every day of the week. Jesus right. It put us on into fucking coffins, this club. Fucking embarrassing. Like, third biggest club in England.
What really fucking annoys me is that the whole, like exactly what you said there, Jesus has a year left in his fucking contract, and this club are willing to pay 40 million. If Jesus Christ himself was fucking on his last year of his contract, I still wouldn't pay fucking 40 million for him. You know what I mean? No. But this fucking club is fucking thick as fuck. You know, Mane, is there any sense? Can you see a light at the end of the tunnel? Is Mikel going to change it all, and we're all negative fucking idiots?
You know, the worst things about all of this is that when you take a look at El Neni being offered that contract with all that stupid money, and now the talk of Jesus being signed for potentially 40 million, despite having 1 year left on his contract at City, I think, you know, Arsenal used to be a club, as I've said so many times, which would be very prudent and responsible with their money, and now they just seem to throw it away, and for what? I remember watching another podcast. It was with the Aussie Gooner. Warren will know him well, lovely bloke from Sydney. And Kenny Ken was on that, and he was talking about the strategy of the board, I think, when it comes to announcing possible player arrivals. They will delay and deflect or vice versa, and that's pretty much the way it is. And to get back to your question, no, I'm not really excited because we've already obviously seen Martinez from Argentina, who scored yesterday in that European South American Super Cup thing, say that he wants to stay at Inter Milan. There are a lot of doubts about his record. And I really don't know about the sense of any player they might be willing to sign. There may be some players who would fit into the Arsenal mould, but the board wouldn't be interested. It's as if the board are trying to get rid of those players who are spirited enough to fight for the cause. People like, Willock and Maitland-Niles would have offered so much, but I don't see them playing a role. And then you have parasites like Xhaka still there. One thing I will say about Morata, and I'm glad that Carl's not here now, is that, a guy with his record, a goal every 2 international games for Spain, still 29 years old, you don't just, you wouldn't just want to simply turn your nose up and say, sorry, I'm not interested, because there are some people who've said that he could prove to be the Arteta-type player that would really be an improvement on the squad, especially if Lacazette leaves. He does offer goals, he does offer hold-up play and assists, and at 29 years old, he's still at an age where maybe, he's lost a little bit of that competitive fire, but he could, rediscover that with the Arsenal. Of course, he's said recently that he might not be interested, but I'm reminded of a certain player from Nigeria, Nwankwo Kanu. He was playing in Serie A, he had his heart problems, and everyone thought that his career would be on the decline when we signed him, yeah? But Wenger took a gamble on him, believed that he had something to offer. He certainly wasn't the quickest around the block, but in the 5 years that he was with us, he helped us win some really good things, and we got some really good service out of him. Maybe not too many goals, but he also linked up play quite beautifully. With David Luiz and Willian, those two Brazilian parasites were at the end of their careers. Their best days were both at Chelsea. They had no ambition, and they were also the wrong side of 30. Morata's still quite young, so I wouldn't mind taking a little bit of a punt on him and seeing how well he links up with Martinelli. I do hope and pray that Nketiah won't be a starter. The only problem is that if he's being offered that ridiculous contract, you can tell that he may be starting a few games. But if you can have Morata and Martinelli and maybe someone else coming in to form a front three, I think that could potentially have some possibilities. So you never know. But Morata said he might not be interested. If he changes his mind, I say, why not? Show him some love, take a punt on him, and if it doesn't work out, fair enough. But if it does work out, you get a decent player and someone who could definitely play a bit of a role. He can't be worse than Lacazette. I think he'll be a lot better.
Jez, what do you think? Do you think there's anyone coming of any interest that would interest you, or can you not see it happening?
Mate, look, we know the categories and the ability of Edu and Arteta. I said it. I've said it. Kenny said it. Lee said it. We've all said it. To attract top new players into this club from Europe, and I'm talking Europe, you need to have Champions League football. We haven't got Champions League football because we bottled it. Arteta fucked it up. So with Man United, Tottenham, Newcastle, let's not forget them. They're going to spend big. They can spend 300 million this transfer window and not even break the fair play rules. And they've got massive money. Let's get it right. Yeah? Chelsea are going to be looking to do some business. So, with their new owner, as of Monday, with the Kroenkes and Edu and Arteta, who the fuck wants to come and play for Arteta? If you can go and play for Ten Hag, Klopp, yeah, Guardiola, yeah, who the fuck is going to want to come play for Arteta? Who is he? He fluked an FA Cup, and let's get it right. He fluked it. He didn't win it. He fluked it. Because if those 2 goals for Sheffield United weren't disallowed, Arsenal would never have got to that final. So I won't take it from people who say, oh, he won an FA Cup. He didn't. He fluked it. And who won that FA Cup, people? Aubameyang.
Yeah.
And where the fuck is he now? He's gone. Because of Arteta. Because Arteta's regime of being an arrogant prick, has outed that player. He's outed Guendouzi. He's outed Saliba. And we can go on and on and on and on. Yeah? So, no, I don't expect to get in a world-class signing, which Arsenal need. We need 3 world-class signings. We need a backup in the right back. We need a proper central midfielder, and fuck off out Ben White, because he's absolutely fucking pony. Yet this club paid 52 bloody million for him. Shocking. And that is the business that Edu, Vinay and Arteta do. And that, I'm sorry people, states the absolute dire straits that this club is in. If you have to rely on Edu, his statement today that he made, oh well, I want to keep it with Sao Paulo. Wanker. You're a businessman, man. You know, at the end of the day, in business, you have no friends.
Yeah.
I ran my own business for 30 years. I didn't have any friends in business. You know, it's dog eat fucking dog. Yeah, yes, that's how you do business. But this idiot, absolute arsehole, wants, oh, I'll be friends with Sao Paulo. Wanker. You know, if you want something in business, you go for it. And if you've got to jump on people, crawl on people, that's how you do business. No, Arsenal's way is, oh, we'll be nice. Oh, we want to be nice because we don't want to upset anyone. Wankers, a lot of them. So no, I'm not expecting anything great.
Yeah. Look, Warren, I'll same question to you. What are you expecting from the window, or can you see us getting a player? Oh, I like him. That's a good deal.
I've got 0 expectations, right? Because I completely agree with everything that Jess just said, right? You've got a manager who's upset more players than any other manager in the history of world football, as far as I can see, right? In fact, I was able to name a starting 11 of players he's upset since he's been at this club. That is just absolutely ridiculous that I was able to do that, right? Then we've also now we've been heavily linked to 3 players, if you believe what the media says. We've had that Isaac, we've had that Serbian chap who went to Fiorentina, I think, was it he went to?
Balovic.
Yeah. And now this latest one, Martinez, have all said that they don't want to come here. What does that tell you? 3 of them have said that they don't want to come to this club. And they're not like top level strikers either.
And even there, Warren, just to stop you there, when Dia that went to Aston Villa, and your man Ramirez that went to Newcastle, 2 of them heavily linked with Arsenal, they said, fuck that. Sorry for interrupting you. Go ahead.
So that's 5. That, to me, is ringing massive alarm bells. It really is. Because it says to me, we can't attract players. And there's one big reason why that is. And it's this prick of a manager. Because he's so arrogant and up his own arse, right? He ruins people's careers. Well, he tries to ruin people's careers. But then when they go away from the club, they start blossoming again. you know, you've got the Uruguayan lad who's over in Italy, Torreira. His form has started to pick up. Saliba is now on the verge of getting a call up to the French national team, probably the best national team in the world at present, right? Then you've got Guendouzi. He's on the call up, on the verge of a call up to their national squad as well. It's just insane, absolutely insane. And the players at this club, and I've said it the other day, and I'm going to say it again about the coaching. I'm convinced that these players that we've got in the club now aren't improving or moving forward at the pace they should be. And it's because of him and his coaching team's performance. They're just not. You could look at Tierney, how he's regressed since he moved down here from Celtic. And it's not uncommon for this to happen. You know, you get other players have come here and they've like regressed or they've just stood still. And I think that Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe haven't really progressed as well as they should have done. You know, I mean, look at Phil Foden, how he's blossomed under Guardiola. Do you reckon that would have happened at Arsenal? Because I don't think it would have.
No.
You know, and there was that fella who put that comment in the chat the other night about how one of his mates works at or knows someone, or he works at Arsenal when there's issues there with the coaching. You know, and it just confirmed everything I was thinking, because I was seeing these players and their performances seem to be going backwards, and it has to be because of the coaching and the way that they're being set up and they're whatnot. And that's why that, combined with Arteta's reputation, tells me that people don't want to come here. And I think we're going to struggle to find people because all these players talk to each other. And as soon as their agent says, Arsenal are in for you, they're going to be talking to their mates or people they know who've worked with him, and they're going to ask them, what do you think about this Arsenal and this Arteta chat? They're going to say, no, don't touch it. Imagine what Aubameyang is going to be saying. Because I heard the other day we got linked to someone who was at Barcelona, Memphis Depay. Can you imagine what Aubameyang is going to say to Memphis Depay about Arteta? For God's sake. It's just ridiculous, honestly. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, man. Sorry.
Manny, I'm going to wrap it up now, but I'll let you sort of have your 2 cents.
Again, everything. I'll save you some time. Everything that Jez and Warren have just said is completely spot on. There's not too much reason to hope. I mean, I might have offered a bit of a sliver, but I'm pretty certain that Jez was looking at me and thinking, "Mate, what are you talking about?" He wouldn't be interested in Morata coming over here, trying to look for a silver lining. But all I will say is that next season will be the ticking time bomb. It really will be, and that's going to be when we really find out whether Arteta will improve and evolve, and the team will improve and evolve with him, or things will get so bad that we finally decide the Emperor has no clothes, the process is unreal, we need to get rid of it. I mean, you know, hope for some form of change is all that we have at this point. That's all I can say, really.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to wrap it up there, and I just want to say thanks to the whole panel. Jez, thanks a million for coming on. Warren, Manu, and Kyle as well. Please, people, check out Jez's channel, The History of Arsenal and More. Please like and subscribe. He's teaching everyone free classes, free Arsenal classes. He's doing it. Jez, I'll actually come to you. Just give a shout out there, mate.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm doing one tomorrow night. I like to break the mould a bit, and tomorrow night's the first one I'm doing about Arsenal and the FA Cup, part 1. When I was breaking it all down, it's so, oh my God, there's so much detail. I thought I've got to do it in parts 1 and 2 because it'll go on for too long. I don't like to do the streams more than about 45 minutes because it gets boring. So tomorrow night, 7:30, I'm doing one Arsenal and the FA Cup because we all know Arsenal are synonymous with the FA Cup. Greatest team in the FA Cup in history. So it starts off tomorrow and we go forward from there. And hope go and enjoy. And Warren told me today, Arsenal Football Club have started doing some history on the football club. Well, dear God, I went and had a look at that. It's shocking. It is shocking. And when 4 years ago, I offered Arsenal Football Club to do a history channel on Arsenal, and they deemed it irrelevant. Quote. And you look at what they're putting out, it's absolute dross. Now, what can I say, people? I'm not saying my channel's the best. I'm not. But it gives you facts. It gives you history. And that's all I'm going to say.
Look, come here. Look, Warren, our Jez is fucking. Look, I love your thing. I'll be tuning in tomorrow night, 100%, definitely. And look, people, please do come on, get on the boat there if you're not already. Subscribe to Jez's channel, and also my main man, Warren. What's the crack? What any plans? What's happening on your show?
Well, on Tuesday, I'm going to be on Diesel's channel. I'm going to do my paranormal stuff again. I'm doing the Loch Ness Monster this time.
Oh,
Right.
Love it.
All right, but I've also got my season review coming out soon. I'm not sure when it's going to be yet, but I haven't finished the slides and collating all the data and whatnot. So I'm not sure, but keep an eye out open for it because there's going to be a lot of information. But I just wanted to say one thing. I don't think Jez did himself enough justice, right? That bloody website that I sent to him doesn't even begin to hold a light to the stuff that he's done. Honestly, it is fucking Jez, and yours is light years ahead. It is, you know. I'm sorry, I'm not going to let this stream finish without it being said that Jez's is superb. It really is, and that bloody excuse of a website, what they put out is disgraceful. It really is. So,
well, can I just say, mate, thank you very much. Thank you. But for them to set that up is awful. It's an embarrassment to the club. Shocking, honestly, man. You know, and you know, it takes a lot of research and a lot of time to set it all up, you know. But for Arsenal Football Club, dear God, to do that is shocking. Honestly.
I think, Jez, the only reason they've done it is because they've seen how successful yours has been.
Maybe, because they do watch us all. They do.
I told you that. I fucking met two of them. I met two of them, and they said they do watch us. So yeah, say hello, change their fuck. Get this fella on your bleeding channel or your fucking website. Give him truckloads of money.
Well, the thing is, Del, why the fuck do they do it in such an amateur way? Now, yeah, I'm an amateur. I haven't got a professional setup. I'm in my little man cave, right? This is my man cave. And I'm thinking about, you know, I won't lie to you. My wife said to me the other day for my birthday, I'm going to buy you a green screen because you need something professional. And I went, right, okay. I said, I haven't got a clue how they work. I don't know how you, like Warren's got one here, how you project that. I don't know.
It's not a green screen, Jez.
Oh,
It's not. It's on the. Honestly, it's a setting on StreamYard. You can do it.
I'll have a talk to you, Warren. I'll have a talk.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know, and it's like, look, hang about. I ain't got tens of thousands of pounds to have a professional studio like some people have, you know, and they talk a load of bollocks like we know who they are. Yeah. They talk absolute shit. And yet Arsenal Football Club do that. And yeah, I offered it more professionally, more in depth, more detailed, and they deemed it irrelevant.
You know, I don't know if you want to answer that there. What Static has down, please ask Jez this. Could you quickly give everyone one example of what they did wrong in their chat, in their website or whatever?
It's so embarrassing. It's just like, I'll quote you, right? They had 4 facts wrong about the start of Dial Square. That says it all. I say no more.
Yeah.
Because that is shocking. They haven't got a proper researcher. They haven't got their facts correct. And I'm loving the fact, if they ever continue, of how they get into what I've just done in the last stream I did about when Arsenal got into Division 1, what they did at Plumstead Common at the Manor Ground. I bet they can't even get the names of the stands right.
That's a right. When you think about it, like, you know what I mean? Let's think about it. How much of a fucking joke is that?
I did it in my stream. The Spion Cop, which was the North Stand, which they built out of basically turf, yeah, was the first stand to be called the Cop before the Cop at Liverpool. The Spion Cop. Oh, I've had quite a few people contact me and say they'd like to go and see that. Well, unfortunately, it's gone because all of that ground now built up. But I was privileged when I went up there to actually look at Plumstead, the Manor Ground, 25 odd years ago, and I got chatting to some people in the area, and this one fella said to me, "Oh, come and look in my back garden." And I went in, I said, "All right, fair play." And there's a whole row of houses, still had 4 or 5, 6 concrete steps of the east stand in their back gardens. And that was the original Manor Ground. You know? I wish I'd taken photographs. I really wish I had. But
sometimes you just don't be thinking, you know what I mean?
Well, back in then, I had a mobile phone, but I didn't have a camera on it. So I didn't actually expect Del to actually get invited into somebody's back garden to have a look, to be fair. I just got chatting to this old boy, and I said, "Oh, I'm looking for this." He said, "Well, this is where it was. This was the Manor Ground back in time." And, you know, as it was. But,
yeah. No, look, we leave it there, Jen. Thanks a million again. And also, check out Kyle Walsh's channel. Please do subscribe to Kyle as well. Kyle Walsh Gunner. Please do. And Manny, do you want to give a shout out to any of your socials or anything, mate?
Only one social, my Instagram account, Manny Tangura 1981. Just message me, chat me up, do whatever you want. Not that much content on my profile yet, but from July you might be seeing a little bit more. Nothing much else. I like floating around.
Yeah, no, fair play. And thanks to everyone in the chat that has dropped the comments. Really do appreciate it. Just before you go, please stick a like on the button. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. And subscribe to the boys' channels as well. Really appreciate your time. I'm doing a live stream on Saturday at 2 o'clock in the day. Ireland are playing Armenia away. I'm just giving it a go, see what it's like. It'll probably fucking drive me mad because Ireland are like Arsenal to me as well. They drive me in fucking sane. So there'll be the swear jar right beside me, and there'll be a lot of coins right beside me as well. And I'll be giving it fucking loads. Thanks a million, everyone, again. Really appreciate it. Take care.